Red Bull could be one technical failure away from losing Max Verstappen. Reports already link him to a possible $100 million contract demand, while separate claims suggest Mercedes rejected the conditions surrounding a move. Now the biggest question is not his salary. It is whether Verstappen still trusts Red Bull to build a championship-winning car. There is no confirmed ultimatum, no verified list of engineering changes, and no official proof that he has demanded a complete technical overhaul. But if his confidence in the project is fading, Red Bull faces an impossible choice. Rebuild the team around his concerns, or risk watching the driver who defined its greatest era walk away. And the most dangerous weakness may be the one Red Bull cannot fix with money. Subscribe to the channel. Editor. To understand why the idea of a technical overhaul matters, you have to look beyond one difficult race, one setup problem, or one frustrated radio message. A Formula One car is never standing still. Every weekend changes it. New parts arrive. Engineers study data. Drivers report what they feel. Rivals improve. And the balance of power can shift faster than anyone expects. That is why a team can look dominant one year, then suddenly appear vulnerable. The car may still be quick. The driver may still produce strong results. But underneath the surface, small weaknesses can begin connecting. And once they connect, they become much harder to ignore. That is the danger Red Bull would be facing if Verstappen no longer trusted the technical direction. The available source does not confirm that Verstappen has formally demanded a complete engineering rebuild. There is no verified document, no official ultimatum, no confirmed list of people he wants replaced, and no direct statement proving that he has ordered Red Bull to change its technical structure or lose him. But the pressure around his future makes the question impossible to dismiss. What would Verstappen need to see before he could believe in Red Bull again? That question matters because confidence is not created by promises. It is created by evidence. A driver hears that an upgrade is coming. Then he drives it. A team says the weakness has been understood. Then the same weakness appears again. A technical group says the development path is correct. Then a rival becomes faster. Each moment adds weight. And eventually, the driver stops judging individual problems. He begins judging the entire system. That is where a technical issue becomes a crisis. Imagine taking your car to a mechanic because the steering keeps pulling to one side. The mechanic adjusts it. You drive away. The problem returns. You take it back. Another adjustment is made. Then the same problem returns again. At first, you are patient. Then you become concerned. Finally, you stop asking whether the next repair will work. You start asking whether you should find another mechanic. That is the position Red Bull must avoid. Because Verstappen does not need perfection. No driver gets that. He needs to believe the team knows why the car behaves the way it does. He needs to believe the engineers can identify the real weakness. And he needs to believe the solution will arrive before another championship opportunity disappears. That is a very different demand from simply asking for more speed. Every driver wants more speed. A technical overhaul suggests something deeper. It suggests the normal process may no longer be trusted. It suggests small adjustments are not enough. And it suggests the driver believes the problem may exist inside the structure itself. Again, that conclusion is not confirmed by the available source. But it explains why the rumor carries so much force. Because if Verstappen truly believes Red Bull needs major change, then one new front wing will not solve the problem. One setup adjustment will not solve the problem. One strong weekend will not solve the problem. The issue would be whether the team can still understand, develop, and improve the car as quickly as the competition. That is where technical leadership becomes critical. A Formula One driver describes what the car feels like. The engineers must turn that feeling into a measurable problem. Then designers must create a part that changes the behavior. The factory must build it. The simulator must test it. And the track must confirm it. Every link matters. If one part of that chain becomes weak, progress slows. The driver may describe the same issue several times. The data may point in different directions. The factory may produce a solution that helps one corner but hurts another. And suddenly, weeks of work create almost no clear improvement. That is when frustration begins. Not because the people are lazy. Not because the engineers have forgotten how to design a car. Because Formula One problems are rarely simple. Fixing one weakness can create another. Imagine adjusting the temperature in a house where every room is connected to the same heating system. Make one room warmer, and another becomes uncomfortable. Turn the system down, and the first room becomes cold again. That is what car development can feel like. A change that improves the front may make the rear unstable. A change that protects the tires may reduce qualifying speed. A change that works on a smooth circuit may fail on a bumpy one. That is why a technical overhaul would be such a serious step. It would mean Red Bull was not merely adjusting the car. It would mean reconsidering how the car is understood, how feedback is processed, how decisions are made, and how quickly the team reacts when the current direction stops working. But here is the hidden risk. Major change does not guarantee improvement. Changing too much can make the situation worse. New leaders need time. New engineers need to understand the car. New processes create confusion before they create clarity. And Formula One does not stop while a team reorganizes. The rivals continue developing. The races continue. The championship continues. That means Red Bull would face two dangers at the same time. Change too little, and Verstappen may believe the team is not responding. Change too much, and the team may lose the stability required to recover. That is why the decision becomes so difficult. Verstappen would want urgency. Red Bull would need control. Verstappen would want proof. Red Bull would need time. And those two needs do not always fit together. A driver experiences the problem every lap. The team experiences the solution over months. That difference creates tension even when both sides want the same result. The driver asks why the weakness remains. The engineers explain that the next development step is still being prepared. The driver sees another lost opportunity. The engineers see a complicated process that cannot be rushed without risk. Both sides may be reasonable. Both sides may still become frustrated. And this is where communication becomes just as important as performance. A technical overhaul is not only about replacing people or redesigning parts. It is also about rebuilding belief. The driver must believe the engineers understand him. The engineers must believe the driver trusts their process. The leadership must believe the team can make difficult decisions without falling into panic. And everyone must believe the same future is still possible. Without that shared belief, even a fast car can become unstable. Not physically, politically. Every setback starts a new argument. Every delay creates suspicion. Every rival improvement feels like proof that the team has chosen the wrong direction. And once that atmosphere enters the garage, solving the car becomes even harder. People become defensive. Departments protect their decisions. Leaders choose safer answers. And the team begins reacting to pressure instead of controlling it. That is what a real crisis looks like. Not shouting. Not dramatic meetings. Not one public explosion. A slow loss of confidence. And for Red Bull, that would be especially dangerous because Verstappen's confidence has been one of the team's greatest weapons. When he believes in the car, he commits fully. When he believes in the strategy, he can control a race. When he believes in the team, pressure from rivals becomes easier to absorb. But when belief weakens, every advantage becomes more fragile. A strong result brings temporary relief. A difficult result brings every doubt back. That is why money cannot solve the entire problem. The reported figure of $100 million per year would be enormous. But even that amount cannot guarantee technical progress. It cannot guarantee that the next car will suit him. It cannot guarantee that the right people remain in place. And it cannot guarantee that Red Bull will understand the next regulation change better than its rivals. A contract can secure a driver's signature. It cannot secure his confidence. That is the central tension. Red Bull may be able to pay Verstappen. The harder challenge is proving that the team still knows how to give him what he values most. A car he can trust. A development plan he believes in. And an organization that reacts before frustration becomes resignation. Because a driver does not usually leave the moment a problem appears. He leaves when he believes the problem will continue. That belief is what Red Bull must fight. Not the headline. Not the rumor. Not even the reported salary. The idea that another team could offer a clearer technical future. And once that idea feels credible, every weakness inside Red Bull becomes more dangerous. Every missed target gains meaning. Every delayed improvement becomes evidence. And every rival victory begins to look like a glimpse of the future Verstappen may be considering elsewhere. And this is where the technical debate becomes a fight over time. Because Red Bull does not have unlimited time to prove that its direction still works. Every race matters. Every upgrade matters. Every month spent correcting the wrong problem gives rivals another chance to move ahead. That is why a technical overhaul, if Verstappen truly wants one, would not be a simple request for improvement. It would be a demand for urgency. Not panic. Urgency. Those are very different things. Panic creates rushed decisions. Urgency creates clear priorities. And Red Bull would need to know exactly which one is driving the conversation. The available source does not confirm that Verstappen has issued a formal technical demand. It does not identify a specific engineer, department, or development problem. It does not provide a direct quote saying that Red Bull must rebuild its technical structure. But the wider pressure around his future creates a very real question. How long would Verstappen be willing to wait for proof? That may be the most important question in the entire story. A driver can accept a difficult period when he believes the solution is close. He can accept one season of struggle if the next project looks convincing. He can accept temporary weakness if the team shows clear understanding. But waiting becomes dangerous when the timeline is uncertain. Because a Formula One career is not measured only in years. It is measured in championship opportunities. A driver may race for a long time, but only a few seasons may provide the right car, the right team, and the right competitive window at the same moment. Lose one of those seasons, and it does not come back. That is why Verstappen would judge Red Bull differently from an ordinary driver. He would not ask only whether the car can win one race. He would ask whether the team can build another era. That is a much higher standard. And Red Bull would know it. A single victory could calm the outside noise. It could lift morale. It could make the technical direction look stronger. But one victory would not answer the deeper question. Can the team repeat it? Can the car perform across different tracks? Can Red Bull develop faster than the teams chasing it? Can the organization remain stable when pressure rises? That is what Verstappen would need to understand. Because a championship car is not simply fast. It is reliable, predictable, adaptable. It works when the track is hot. It works when the weather changes. It works on smooth surfaces and difficult ones. And when it does not work, the team understands why. That final point may matter most. A difficult car is one problem. A mysterious car is a much larger one. When engineers know the weakness, they can plan. When they are still searching for the cause, every solution becomes a gamble. That is when drivers lose patience. Not because they expect perfection. Because uncertainty makes every promise weaker. An engineer can say improvement is coming. But if the team does not fully understand the problem, what exactly is improving? That is where trust begins to depend on results. And this is also where tension can rise between the driver and the technical group. The driver feels the weakness immediately. The engineers need time to study it. The driver wants a direct answer. The engineers may have several possible explanations. The driver sees another weekend slipping away. The factory sees a problem that may require weeks of work. Nobody has to be dishonest for frustration to grow. Nobody has to be incompetent. The conflict can come from the simple fact that both sides experience time differently. For Verstappen, one difficult lap can be enough to understand that something is wrong. For the engineers, one difficult lap is only the beginning of the investigation. They must compare data, check sensors, study tire behavior, review setup changes, examine how the car reacted in different corners. Then they must decide whether the weakness came from the car itself, the conditions, or a compromise made somewhere else. That process takes time. But championships do not wait for complete certainty. That is why elite teams must make decisions before every answer is available. And those decisions become more difficult when the driver is already questioning the direction. Imagine a doctor treating a patient while the symptoms keep changing. One treatment improves the pain but creates another problem. A second treatment helps for a few days, then stops working. The patient wants a permanent answer. The doctor still needs more information. Both sides become frustrated, even though both want the same result. That is the kind of pressure Red Bull could face. Verstappen would want the car to respond in a way that allows him to attack. The engineers would want to create that car. But wanting the same thing does not guarantee agreement on how to achieve it. And this is where the idea of a technical overhaul becomes politically dangerous. Because major change always creates winners and losers inside an organization. One department may gain more influence. Another may lose control. A senior figure may be given more authority. Someone else may be replaced. A development philosophy may be abandoned after months of work. And every change sends a message. It says the old way was no longer enough. That message can motivate people. It can also damage confidence. Red Bull would need to manage that carefully. If the team changes too little, Verstappen may feel ignored. If it changes too much, the engineers may feel blamed for problems that were more complicated than one decision. That matters because technical people perform best when they can be honest. They need the freedom to say an idea failed. They need the confidence to challenge assumptions. They need to admit when the data does not match expectations. A fearful technical group becomes cautious. And caution can slow innovation. That is the hidden cost of a public crisis. When every decision is connected to Verstappen's future, people may begin choosing the safest answer rather than the best one. A bold solution may be rejected because failure would look disastrous.